Thank you, Dr. Pajna, for organizing this event. I did graduate a couple years ago, and I'm always really excited to have a reason to come back, especially when it involves poetry. So I brought two books that I'd like to read from. If any of you haven't read Ocean Vuong, he's this really amazing, newly published poet. His book is just incredible, so I'll read one from his book first. This is called Untitled, Blue, Green, and Brown Oil on Canvas, Mark Rothko, 1952. The TV said the planes have hit the buildings, and I said yes because you asked me to stay. Maybe we pray on our knees because God only listens when we're this close to the devil. There's so much I want to tell you. How my greatest accolade was to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge and not think of flight. How we live like water, wetting a new tongue with no telling what we've been through. They say the sky is blue, but I know it's black, seen through too much distance. You will always remember what you were doing when it hurts the most. There's so much I need to tell you, but I only earned one life, and I took nothing. Nothing, like a pair of teeth at the end. The TV kept saying the planes, and I stood waiting in the room made of broken mockingbirds, their wings throbbing into four blurred walls. And you were there. You were the window. This book is awesome. It's great. And then I've been reading this book, this new anthology of contemporary Southern poetry. I'm really interested in stories of the South that are kind of responsibly told. It's hard to talk about the South in a way that kind of respects terrible things that have happened while kind of being mindful of what the future of the South could look like. So this whole book of poetry is a collection of really great contemporary Southern poets who I think are trying to have that conversation, which I think is really cool. So I'll start with one. There are a ton in here that are also really great. This is called Hard Lines. And I'll read one by Destiny O. Birdsong called Sugar that just had this, I thought, like a really incredible ending. Sugar. 1. Late harvest frenzy could fell a full-grown man fighting for space with the sun, the snakes, the heat, the tug-of-war of stray dogs, river rats. Shit, a half-wit with a machete could split your guts open before either of you knew. So men like my father learned to work quickly and move on, to leave some things undone without amends. 2. Every so often, my friend Christina's father, drunk as a drain with rum on Saturday nights, would slice stalks into slippery little slits just big enough for me and her. We'd sit in our thin nightgowns, savoring the juice. The real thing, he would say, the first real thing anything expensive ever tastes like, and it's growing right under, he'd kiss my lips, your nose. Drink cost money, women did, men too. But cane and little girls were always free. They grew on every side of the road we knew. 3. A Zulu man once strangled 19 women and threw their bodies in fields just north of Durban. When workers burned cane at the end of the season, swollen black bodies burst into syrupy flame. He lived in a nearby shanty township so dangerous the white policemen wouldn't enter. They knew his name by the 7th victim, but waited, afraid, patrolling for bones scattered by wild boar. 4. My grandmother died in January, the coldest month all year. But even so, great gusts of sleet couldn't blow the bittersweet smell of gangrene away. Doctors had already cut off what they could, her buttocks, a leg, 2 pounds of flesh from one thigh, pieces of her piled in the basement at Waste Management. Her daughter was 22. I was unborn. Well, that all happened a long, long time ago, my mother said. You should forget about those things. She slipped a pecan pie into the oven and looked away. And the last one I will read is by Jake Adam York. And it's called, yeah, he's great, also good. It's called Inscription for Air. It's written for John Earl Reese, who was shot in a drive-by shooting while dancing in a cafe in Mayflower, Texas in 1955. Not for the wound, not for the bullet, power's pale cowardice, but for you, For the 3 full syllables of your name we hold whole as a newborn by the feet, and so for the cry, the first note, the key of every word to follow, the timbre, the tone, the voice that could sing Nat King Cole's If I May, and slow dance the flip side, the blossoms fallen like a verdict to the jury's lips, not to the blood or the broken glass or the spiders silking jukebox wires in a junk man shed, but the finger's heat still on the dime when it slides to the switch, the lamp on the platter, the groove that tells the needle what to say, and the pine boards of the cafe's floor, once moved by the locust moan, now warm as the guitar's wood, revived with all the prayers of song, amens that flame when a blues turns bright. Not for what was lost, but what was lived, what is written here in the night, in vinyl, in the air, for the bead of sweat at the hair's deckle, the evening star in the trees, soda pop sugar wild on your tongue, and for the tongue telling Saturday night something of Sunday morning, fluent as a mockingbird, and for the hand that opens as if in praise, as if in prayer, asking for another to fill it there, for the smile and for the smile of skin behind the ear where love might lip its name, for you, if we may, pull back the arm and start this music once again. See you guys.